Hi everyone and welcome to Dean Park. In this video I'm going to take the brand new Accurascale Class 50 and I'm going to upgrade it. Yes, you heard correctly. I'm going to take a brand new model out of the box and improve it from what arrived from Accurascale. Before I go any further, I'd like to give a warm welcome to all my new subscribers. Thanks for hitting that icon and joining the Dean Park channel. Don't forget to hit that channel name just under the screen there, and also there's an icon at the bottom right hand side of the screen there and you can access all of my content. It's all absolutely free. Right, back to the matter in hand, and what am I going to do to this brand new Class 50? Well, I'm going to install an ESU sound decoder, Accurathrash speaker, and whilst I've got the body off, I'm going to fit Accurascale crew, which includes a driver and a second man. And whilst I'm at it, I'll fit the buffer beam detail and go through some details on that as well. If you're watching right now and thinking, actually, I fancy fitting sound to my Class 50, it couldn't be simpler. All the parts I'm about to show you are available through the Accurascale website, and I've popped my affiliate link in the description below. So if you hit that, it'll take you to the website, and you do get bundles where you get all the equipment that I'm going to use today. The process for fitting sound to Accurascale models is very similar across the classes, so you'll be able to pick up sound for other locomotives from the Accurascale range as well. If you wish to support the channel, please don't forget to hit those like and subscribe icons and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future uploads from the channel. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy the video, and if you have any questions at all, please pop those in the comment section below. Right, I'm ready to get started. I've laid out everything that I need for this task. Starting at the left with the instruction manual, neglected by many, however, it is there for a reason. I would always recommend taking a look through it. It will give you useful information on body removal, fitting the drivers, and pipework arrangement along the buffer beam. I've then got a couple of small tweezers there, and that'll be useful for taking off the bogie chains and fitting any small pipework. We've then got the retaining clips for the speaker and the Accurathrash speaker itself, along with an ESU Lok Sound sound decoder. And I've also got some Class 50 driver and second man in late BR condition, and I'll fit those while the body is off. At each bogie there is a bogie chain which is connected to the body, and that has to be removed prior to taking the body off. And these are friction fitted, unlike say on the Deltics where they were glued in place. These are a lot easier to remove. Just get yourself your set of tweezers there and get a hold of the bogie chain attachment and just gently wiggle and it will pop out. And it's got a small kind of peg to fit in the hole, and this looks to be made from metal as well, so it's not going to break as easy as previous versions of bogie chains on models from Accurascale. So they've really listened to feedback there and made a big step up with regard to removing those chains. With the bogie chains now safely out of the way, you've got to remove the jumper connector here underneath the body, and that's just a little pip holding that in position. It's not glued, and you do the same at the other end. There we go. Right, I've just started to remove the body here, and it's pretty straightforward, and it's highlighted in the instructions as to where the clips are. There are two each side, and you just prise the body apart like so and carefully slide it up from the chassis like so. I'd always rest that on something not flat, because you don't want these to be crushed, so I put it on something like say a box or for the speaker, just so that it's not catching any of the detail that hangs lower than the body itself. With the body now off, you get a good sense of the inside of the loco, your blanking chips there, all the plug sockets for the wiring for your lighting, and down to the bogies for picking up power, and this big area here on top of your PCB board which will house the speaker. At each end of this large exposed area we've got 4 rectangular holes there, and the same arrangement there, and that is where your speaker clip will be housed to hold the speaker firmly in position. You'll also notice, those of you who have had the body off, there's a factory fitted sugar cube speaker there. I'm assuming that you can run the sound fitted chip from this sugar cube speaker. However, it won't be nearly as good as with the Accurathrash speaker fitted as well. Looking a little bit closer in, you can see here just between the two cab bulkheads we've got a PCB board, and that's attached to the bogie, and that is the hall sensor. So when your loco goes round a curve, depending on the speed, it will give some flange squeal. You'll also notice that there's small circles here, and the same at the other end. In fact, there's more at the other end, and I'll get to that in a moment. And these are for the pickups that are attached to the body for powering such things as the cab lighting. At the other end, it powers the rotating roof fan, because on this particular model, Accurascale have fitted rotating roof fans as standard. That gives you a closer up view of the rotating fan and the motor and all the mechanism in there. And you can see there we've got the kind of spring pickups, and these align with the same ones on the PCB board at the number 1 end. The speaker itself has got holes in each end, and that is where the locating clips go in, so it holds it nicely in place, aligned with the PCB, so it's not moving around and vibrating as it operates in the loco. You can have it that way and just plug it into this socket here. However, you may need a little bit of tape along the side of the speaker to stop it catching on the body, or you can simply just take the speaker and turn it around 180 degrees and then have the speaker cable going across there and then into the socket, and that'll avoid you having to tape the wire down. Right, what I've done is I've located the clips at 2 of the 4 pegs, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the legs in with my tweezers here to locate the other 2 holes, and the clip should then locate in like so. Right, all I have to do now is plug that speaker cable into the socket, but before I do that, I'm just going to remove the blanking chip and put on the 21 pin sound fitted decoder. Just before I plug the speaker back in and put the body on, we can marvel at some of the detail from the engine room there, which can be seen through the side windows on the body, and these little things there under the foam pads are your LEDs for your engine room lighting. It really is quite a nice, compact and thoroughly thought out design by Accurascale, and fitting this speaker has been really simple. Before I pop the body back on, I'm going to fit these Model U designed driver and second man, and you can get these drivers directly through Accurascale on their website. And I'm going to hold these in position on their seats with a little bit of black tack. I prefer doing it that way so I can remove them later if I wish. If you're using glue, that's kind of making it a little bit more permanent. That's the speaker and the crew now fitted, and I'll pop the body back on in a moment. And I have to say, I tackled the fitting of the drivers with a fearless attitude, and they do now look both invincible and superb sitting in their seats. The cab interior is up there with Accurascale's usual high standards, and with all parts being picked out on the control panel, as well as lit console dials as well. Getting the driver seated takes careful handling, but I put up a valiant effort, and he went in neatly with some black tack on his back side. At one point I didn't think I was going to get him seated, but I found a resolution. After all, I'm renowned for my persistence, and it was a triumph. One thing I would recommend is that you handle these bulkheads with care, and they can become detached. I'm not saying this is the Achilles heel of the model, but just be careful. I just fitted the buffer beam pipes off camera there. It was a bit of a tedious job. You tend to find that the holes are very small, so you might have to take a little bit of paint off the peg of the pipe itself. I would avoid trying to remount the hole with a larger twist drill or a small pin vise, because some of the holes are rather near the bottom of the buffer beam itself, especially the ones with the yellow pipe work. So if you rim that out with I don't know, a 0.5 or whatever, you might find that the hole comes through the bottom of the actual buffer beam itself. So just be careful when you're fitting this buffer beam detail. There is a colour-coded diagram within the instructions on what pipes go where. However, the colour coding doesn't relate to a particular pipe, so I would recommend you just go online and find a picture of a Class 50 buffer beam and follow the colours on that. The instructions don't give you information on how to fit the kind of stepped guard that goes behind the 3-piece coupler, but there are holes in the bottom of the buffer beam to suit that, and they've actually given you a smaller and a large hole so that you fit it round the correct way. I've also fitted the guard irons, because my particular class 50 is not having the snow ploughs. Guard irons would be on the front of the bogie, and you could probably just see them there at both sides of the bogie, and I've done that at the number 2 end as well. With the body now on, it's now time to put the bogie chains back in, and I'm using a small pair of tweezers and a cocktail stick, and I just align the peg with the hole in the body and try and press down with the cocktail stick like so. Now, before you get too excited and stick your newly sound fitted class 50 on the track, there are a few changes to make to the switch panel on the PCB board here, and I've had to take the decoder out to show you this. If you're fitting an ESU decoder like I did, you have to change the switch arrangement to this, and it's easily done. They're numbered 1 to 6, and I just use a small cocktail stick to change the switch positions. If you're using a non-ESU decoder, it also gives you an arrangement for the switches there. And if you're keeping the blanking plate on, that is the arrangement of the switches there. Now, thanks to Mr. Steele, Scooney Hobby's own decoder oracle, for pointing this out to me. This is to get the full suite of lighting effects on your model, including cab lighting and twin red tail lights at the number 2 end. So with those switches now in position, I'll be able to go ahead and pop the decoder back in, put the roof panel on, and get this class 50 onto the track and fired up. Right, the decoder and the speaker are in. The driver and second man are in the cab, and all the buffer beam detail is now fitted. The body's back on and the bogie chains are in place. It's time to bring this Accurascale Class 50 to life and fire up the engine. As the Class 50s just now tick over there with the Spirex valve sound, what did you think of that sound demonstration? I particularly liked the cold startup. You can really play with F8 and F1 depending on how long you want that cold start to go on for. I also liked the hall sensors with the automatic flange squeal. This can be turned off and on with a function on your decoder through your handset. I really think that Accurascale and ESU have worked together here to produce a sound file that really is in harmony with the movements of the model locomotive. It's got a good sound to it. You can turn the sound down if it's a little bit loud for you, but I like to give my locomotives the full beans when running on the layout. If you wish to upgrade your Class 50 locomotive to full sound, head to the link in the description below. There are bundles available if you wish to add drivers as well. Well, that's all I've got for you in this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing and hearing the Class 50 go around Dean Park. It certainly is one of Accurascale's best sound files, and it really does make an imposing loco even better. I'll be having a look at the Accurascale Class 50 and comparing it to the previous version from Hornby, so stay tuned for that video. However, in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.